Hey everyone, welcome to Movie Night. Today we're going to watch From Dusk Till Dawn. Came out in 1996, stars Quentin Tarantino, George Clooney, Juliette Lewis, Harvey Keitel, Cheech Marin, and a whole bunch of other actors. An interesting movie, kind of a horror movie directed by Robert Rodriguez. And it follows these two brothers, Quentin Tarantino and George Clooney, are two brothers on the run from local police and the FBI after a big scandal they did. And they're trying to get across the border, so they take Harvey Keitel's family hostage to get them across the border to safety. And then some other stuff happens in the movie. This movie is pretty interesting. I've seen it before, and yeah, it was just a fun time. And it's an interesting movie, so yeah, just wanted to check it out. Let me go get some popcorn, give me something cold to drink, and we can enjoy From Dusk Till Dawn. Alright guys, that was From Dusk Till Dawn, an interesting movie. Like I said, it's an entertaining movie. If you haven't seen it before, it's actually fun to have somebody with you who's never seen it before and go in thinking it's this bank robbery movie with George Clooney and Tarantino if they've never heard of it, and then waiting to the end of the movie. And I guess spoilers, the movie does have vampires. It's not prevalent all throughout the movie, but it is at the third half of the movie. And it's just an interesting thing to have in a movie that you never thought was going to be in the story, and then they just kind of shoehorned it in there at the last minute. And a fun scene where you have people stabbing each other, and awesome prosthetic effects done by Tom Savini, who is actually Sex Machine in the movie, who has a weird gun. You got to watch the movie for that. And the movie is very graphic. There's a lot of nudity, a lot of violence, and really interesting and cool ways to kill vampires. And a awesome, like I said, prosthetic effects. And there is I forgot the actor's name. He was a black exploitation movie actor from the 70s. I forgot his name. But he's in the movie as well, and he plays a small character at the end of it. It also has a cameo from Greg Nicotero, who does special effects himself, and he's the co-creator of The Walking Dead. But all in all, the movie's very interesting, very fun. It's not very action-heavy until you get to the end of the movie. My only real complaint is that it takes too long to get from where they start at the beginning to they get to the bar at the end of it. I mean, that could be cut out, could be trimmed down a little bit. But it's a Robert Rodriguez movie. It's sort of slow, and then it gets very action-packed heavy at the end, and it's just a lot to take in at once, and so you leave fulfilled. And I would recommend you go and check this out. An entertaining, fun watch. I could see a person being bored by it by the first time watch if they don't know what's going to happen at the beginning. But I mean, I don't know. I think it's an entertaining mess. Let's just say that, an entertaining mess. I haven't seen any of the other movies that go along with it. You have From Dusk Till Dawn 2, Texas Blood Money, and From Dusk Till Dawn 3, The Hangman's Daughter. And then you have a documentary to go that comes with the 3-movie collection, Full Tilt Boogie. I have no idea what that's about, but the movie is fun. Like I said, the actor is great, and the director, Robert Rodriguez, he does a lot of the movie himself, like a lot of the editing, directing, cinematography and stuff like that. He does it himself. So if you're an up-and-coming or an independent filmmaker, you kind of look at some of his stuff and you say, I can do that too. Or you take some inspiration from him. Or Lloyd Kaufman, like we talked about last week, with him talking about Trauma. He's good for inspiration if you're going to do independent filmmaking and stuff like that. Definitely check this out, and I hope you enjoy. Yeah, I know, I'm wearing different clothes, as you can tell right now. I'm shooting this after I've done all the editing for the review of the movie. But I'm going to take some viewer Q&A questions. I asked you guys on Twitter to send me questions you had for me so I can put in my movie nights. And the winner of the question gets the digital download code of Animal House, which I will be the last question will be the winner. So thank you guys for sending in your questions and everything. And I'll put your information in the link below. And I know some of you have YouTube channels and everything, so I'll put those down there as well. But thank you guys for sending me the questions, and I will answer them right here. So without further ado, let's go to the first one. First one is by Mr. Holy Cow. He asks, what's your favorite Tarantino film, and what do you think about him not giving his mother a single penny from his earnings? Well, I think the fact of the matter is, you know, people when they're younger, they're like, oh, I want to do this, or they get into a certain thing where they're like, oh, I like this, I wanna pursue this, like art. People who may like to paint when they were younger. People who would paint, kids, they'd paint nice pictures and everything, and they look really good, and hang them up on the wall. And then you have somebody come in there and is like, oh, you're just gonna paint, you're just gonna waste your time, or whatever. They're gonna go, oh, I want to go into art, or I want to do something like that. They're like, oh, you're just gonna waste your time. Well, that was kind of the situation with Tarantino and his mother. He was writing screenplays and stuff like that, and she was like, well, you're just gonna waste your time. You're not gonna make any money off it. An iconic film, like not really franchise, but an iconic collection of films. He has a really popular filmography, a lot of cult status there. But I mean, I would think the people who, people who stick by you. It's just like, I guess the same example is for people who get married. In Hollywood, people are like, a new, like an actor, like say Bruce Willis gets married to some random girl who's not like an actress or has a notable work. They're gonna be like, oh, well, she just married him for his money. Well, that could be the case, or, it's like people who, sometimes that could be the case. It's definitely prevalent in Hollywood, unfortunately, and everything like that. But that happens in society. But it's like the people who you're married to before you get famous and stuff like that. They kind of stuck by you. They kind of stuck by you through all the crap and all the, having to wait for roles and being dirt poor and not having enough money to pay rent. And then you become famous, you become a millionaire, and you do all these roles and stuff like that. And those are the people who deserve a little something. Those people like a thank you. And in this situation, she didn't stick by him. She didn't care if he succeeded or not. She hoped he would fail. And so I think he was right for not giving her anything. I wouldn't give her anything either. And he stuck to his guns on that. But yeah, that was my opinion on Tarantino and his situation going on with that. That's a good question. Alright, next question is from that Brandon 2112. He was won the last week's digital download code. But his question for me this week was, what would you like to see in a Gremlins sequel? Because they're gonna make it, which is true. Also, Gremlins, CGI Gremlins, or puppets, or both. Well, to answer this, you know that the Gremlins movies are obviously older. One came out in the 80s, one came out in the early 90s. And the movies themselves have, iconic parts of them. I think they're both equally good movies in my opinion. Not one is worse than the other. And they're both entertaining. They have a certain entertainment factor about them that it doesn't make them boring to watch. But I would say, if they want CGI Gremlins or puppets, I would say have a mixture between both. I would say if you're going to do hordes of Gremlins, like a bunch of Gremlins, if you're going for a more serious, I would say for a more serious tone, then, or if you're just going for like the scope and you want a bunch of Gremlins, the CGI I think would work better for that. But if you're getting Gremlins that are going to interact with the actors, makeup effects and prosthetic effects have come a long way, and they were really good back then. But now with the modern technology, you don't see the wires holding up the hands when they're throwing the plates, and you can see that if you have a DVD or something like that, go watch it, and you'll see the wire from the puppet, come in the frame. It's in the final movie. But I think a mixture between both CGI and puppets would be good. The puppets would be good for interacting with the people. Like if they're going to be holding Gizmo, they got to have a puppet of Gizmo. They got to have a little figure of Gizmo to hold and stuff like that. Or if they're going to be fighting a gremlin, one's jumping on their face, well, it's better than interacting with CGI, so you're having to figure out where to put your hands. And then the CGI person is going to have to, like, you're doing this, you're like, ah! And then the CGI person's going to have to go in there and have to figure out where they're going to have the textures and all that stuff. I think the puppets would do good for that. So you just have the physical, object on the person, and if you have to have wires or something like that, then you just crop that out with the digital effects, which is good. So in that regards, both effects would be good for different situations. But what would I like to see in a Gremlins sequel? Well, obviously, I'd like to see some of the original cast come back. Now, obviously, some of them have since passed away. Key Luke, who was the original shop owner, has since passed away. But the son and um, the son and the girlfriend are both still alive. Corey Feldman is back. Maybe he can come back in the movie for something like, you remember, like kind of they need somebody, like, we need somebody to help fight off these gremlins, and then they go find a crazy Corey Feldman or something like that. I think that'd be fun. If not a nice cameo, or if any of the original actors are still alive. Unfortunately, Dick Miller has already passed away too, so he would be making a cameo in it. But I would like to see it like kind of a movie where it's like it's horror, like there's some good horror parts, but there's some good comedy in there, kind of a mixture of both movies. And I think it'd be a fun, entertaining movie. And they've already greenlit a TV series. I think it's either directed or Joe Dante's having some part of it. So Joe Dante is associated with the project, and it's an animated TV show. I think it's called Secrets of the Mogwai or something like that. And I think there is some money when it comes to the Gremlins name, because it's like they make T-shirts and stuff like that with the Gremlins logo. I wore one the other day. They still make T-shirts and stuff like that, and they have toys. They got movies. They got the the animated show coming out, and they still sell Gizmo little figurines in stores. So there's definitely money to the name, and I think it'd be worth to put some effort in and not just make it just a crappy sequel to a franchise. I think it'd be fun. Alright, and my final question for the day, and the one who won the digital download code for Animal House, comes from D_Flickinger1, who that name reminds me of John Flickinger, the Flick Pick, which is a fun YouTuber. Go check him out. But he asked, what's a movie that you disliked? Which movie that you disliked that should be remade into a better version? I don't know. I think they tried to do the Hellboy remake. Watching the old Hellboy movie, there's definitely some things that they could have tweaked in it. And there's definitely some stuff they, like the effects, with the effects being dated, because the movie came out in 2004. I think a version with Ron Perlman, they were going to do a trilogy, but I think a version with Ron Perlman as Hellboy, I think would be good. A remake, kind of a reboot of the series. They tried to do that with the 2019 Hellboy movie, which I have, and it didn't really pan out very well. But with this, I think there's a lot of opportunity here. People love Ron Perlman. They like his charisma, and I think he is the better Hellboy of the two that we've gotten so far. And I'm not including any of the voice. I'm not counting in the voice actors or any animated movies they've had out there. It's just like when I do the Batman rankings, I don't include any of the voice actors. Although Kevin Conroy is bad, and the Joker. If Kevin Conroy is your favorite Batman, then he's your favorite Batman. If Mark Hamill is their favorite Joker, then he's your favorite Joker. But for me, it's always going to be Nicholson and Keaton. So, but in that sense, I'm talking with the Hellboy actors. I think Ron Perlman has the better charisma, and I think with the updated effects and a better story, this could be a very fun movie. They need to let a director who who has good pull in Hollywood or has good control in Hollywood, like James Gunn. If James Gunn directed a Hellboy remake and it was fun, entertaining, it was raunchy, rated R. If they do a rated R Hellboy with Ron Perlman and they bring back some of the old actors, I forgot his name. The guy who was in Alien, I forgot his name. He passed away. So they could bring back some guy to play Professor Broom, and they could do another origin story, which, it's like Spider-Man. You've seen the origin story, you know what it's about. But for Hellboy, I think they could do a different story. They could make it, instead of, in the modern day, they can make it like during the Vietnam era or something like that, or make it when he's like, I don't know. who they would get to cast to play a younger Hellboy. But if they want to do it like in like the 60s or the 70s or something like that, then it would be kind of a cool Vietnam era movie or Cold War kind of thing, and I think it'd be kind of fun to do that too. But I would like to see a better version of this. Although I do like the 2004 one, I think an updated, with the updated effects and a better script, I think it would be a fun, entertaining movie. So anyway, thank you guys for sending in the questions, and thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoy my review of the movie, and next week I'm going to be doing the Bill and Ted trilogy of films. That's Bill and Ted 1, Bill and Ted 2, and Bill and Ted Face the Music, so I'll have fun watching those movies, and I will see you next Friday. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.